Nvidia has grown to be one of the most successful businesses in the world. Its market capitalization of nearly $3 trillion is only behind Microsoft and Apple. Nvidia's stock price is up by a whopping 24,500% over the previous decade. But that stock price growth has been supported by 2,000% increase in revenue and 9,000% increase in profits in that same time. Phenomenal. All that being said, how did Nvidia get here? Did it just get lucky to have the right product at the right time? Is it just a beneficiary of an unreasonable excitement surrounding AI? Let's learn more about how Nvidia got to be one of the most valuable companies in the world today.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So at an investor conference yesterday, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang talked about this, how Nvidia got here. What did they get right? And the CEO said that the thing we got right, the one thing we got right, is our vision that there would be another form of computing that could augment general purpose computing to solve problems that a general purpose instrument won't ever be good at. In other words, what Nvidia got right is the long range forecast, the long range vision of what the computing industry will look like 10 years from now, 20 years from now. It got that right all the way back at its founding in the late 1990s. So that big decision, Nvidia got right. And being right and so phenomenally right is what brought Nvidia to where it is today. That underlying, that core forecast, Nvidia got it right. And that's difficult to do. And in fact, I've been talking a lot about EV stocks this year, and EV companies did this quite the opposite. They got this wrong, really wrong in the last 4, 5, 6 years or so. They forecasted EV growth would be so phenomenal in these next couple of years. And it turns out it's nowhere near anywhere they were forecasting. And many of these EV companies are going bankrupt or losing billions of dollars on the bottom line, trying to recover from that initial miscalculation, that initial forecast that was too optimistic. Whereas Nvidia hit the nail right on the head. They got it phenomenally right. And now they're reaping the benefits of this founder's vision. When I talk about reaping the benefits, let's take a look at some of those benefits here. Nvidia's stock price in the last 10 years is up 24,000%, 24.3 thousand% in that time. It's incredible by how much Nvidia's stock price has increased in that time. And the revenue growth has been phenomenal as well. 2,000% increase in revenue in the last 10 years. And that's been supported by profitability as well, with net income jumping by 9,000% in that time. So the business, the price growth has been supported by increases in revenue and profitability. And you can see that hockey stick type pattern in the last year and a half or so on the back of the rising effectiveness of AI. The CEO went on to say, this way of thinking about architecture compatibility, creating a large installed base, taking the software investment of the ecosystem along with us, that psychology started in 1993. And we carried it to this date, which is the reason why NVIDIA's CUDA software has such a massive installed base. And again, so when NVIDIA CEO is asked about the success of the company, he points back to these originating ideas and why that's fundamental to the company's success today, because they've been building this since then. It's been a building and building and building. And then you get that success that they've gotten in the last year and a half. And I've heard sayings that says, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. This is similar to that saying, right? NVIDIA, it's taken 30 years for NVIDIA to be an overnight success. And this is what the CEO is saying. Like, we didn't just all of a sudden jump on the scene 2 years ago and benefited from this AI craze. Like, we've been around for 3 decades. We've been building this. We've been helping create this ecosystem that's led to these breakthroughs that you're seeing today as a consumer, as a user, as an investor. Goes on to say that Nvidia is the largest installed base of video game architecture in the world. Nvidia started out as computer graphics primarily for gaming. But GeForce is now some 300 million gamers in the world are using this product, and it's growing incredibly well. So every single time we have to go and enter a new market, we had to learn new algorithms, new market dynamics, create new ecosystems. And they've done this at each step of the way, building up to where they are today, where they're serving so many different markets. And so they're now an accelerated computer, which means the question you have to ask yourself is, what do you accelerate? There's no such thing as a universal accelerator. So you have to decide where you're going to point this tool at, where you're going to point this weapon at. Do you want to use accelerated computing to solve large language models or create large language models, train large language models? Or do you want to use accelerated computing for data processing? Or do you want to use accelerated computing for recommender systems? So you have to choose where you want to point this at. And NVIDIA has been able to do that at each step of the way, delivering specific use cases for its accelerated computing. And that has partly fueled NVIDIA's success. It's now trading at a market capitalization of 2.92 trillion. Just ever so slightly behind Microsoft at 3.17 trillion and Apple at 3.388 trillion as the third largest market capitalization company in the United States. And so from the beginning, NVIDIA has been building these libraries, and everything on these libraries, they had to do the computer science. Secondly, they had to go through the ecosystem development, and they had to convince everybody to use it. Now they have a rich library for self-driving cars. They have a library for robotics. They have a library for virtual screening, whether it's physics-based virtual screening or neural network virtual screening. And they have a library for climate technology. So all along the way, they've been building these libraries, and it's adding a cumulative benefit as the years have progressed. So those of you that are new to NVIDIA or are just learning about NVIDIA and have just started to research NVIDIA because of its incredible success in the last 2 years, remember that this success started 30 years ago. NVIDIA started this 30 years ago, and they've been working their way towards this level where they're now an incredibly profitable business with phenomenal growth ahead, excellent prospects, great competitive advantages, all because of the beginning of the company and the foundations they laid throughout that entire process.
Thank you for watching this video. I truly appreciate it. I know there's a lot you could be doing with your time and a lot of other videos you could be watching. So I truly appreciate that you chose to watch this one. If you want to see more videos just like this, hit the subscribe or the like button. They'll both help me make more videos just like this one. Thank you again.